Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. I want to talk to you today about a country out there that is the ultimate prepper, and it may be something that we should be concerned with. I don't have all the information on this. I just want to present to you some of the stuff that I have found, and I think it's definitely worthy of pausing and listening to it and trying to figure out what is going on here and if this is something that we should be concerned with. Before I get started talking about hoarding and prepping, I want to mention to you a great company that can help you in your preparedness journey and especially stocking up on food, and that is My Patriot Supply. It's a company that I've partnered with. They offer a great emergency freeze-dried food. This is the kind of stuff that you can just put on the shelf and forget about it until the day that you need it. It lasts a very, very long time. And all you have to do is just add hot water to it to make it. It's super easy to work with and to make a full meal, and this stuff is restaurant quality. It's probably the best price per calorie product out there. I've researched a lot of them, and I think as far as what you can buy with the amount of money that you have, you're going to get the most with them. And that's My Patriot Supply. There is a link down in the description below if you're interested. It's not the only thing that you should be stocking up on when it comes to food, but it is something that's definitely good to add to your prepping supply. And again, that's in the description below, My Patriot Supply. So on with what I was wanting to talk about. A lot of the stuff that I found out when researching for this video, I kind of already knew, but I'll admit I didn't know that it was quite on the scale that it is. And the thing is most of the information that you can find about this is really not solid. It's leaked, and it's because it's about China. And what I want to talk to you about is how China, and they've been doing this for years, okay? This isn't something new that they're doing, but they've certainly ramped up their process of doing this in the past year or two, and that's basically hoarding everything. They are leading the planet and their reserves on many items. In fact, they now hold over half of the world's reserve of grains. Now that's a lot. Now, you might say, well, but they have a big population. I mean, they have a lot of people. Well, they don't have half of the world's population in their country. Yes, they're a big country and they have a lot of people, but that's extreme. They have over half. We're talking corn, wheat, soybeans, sorghum grains. They have anywhere between just below or above half of the world's reserves of grain. That means all the grain in the world, we're talking like half of it in a lot of ways, is sitting in China. They have been on a buying spree when it comes to food for the last 2 years. And I've mentioned that a few times in this channel of how they're buying up. In fact, down in Brazil, I believe it was last year, I was reading that Brazil finally had to cut them off. They had to cut off China because China was buying so much soybean and I believe corn from them that Brazil had to say, whoa, we got to cut you off because we want to make sure that there's enough for us. Like you're buying more and more and more. It's the same thing with the United States. They are the largest purchaser of American foods, grains. They're buying our corn, our wheat. They're buying it like crazy and they're stockpiling it. And a lot of you probably know this because it has been talked about. I know that Ice Age Farmer talks about it occasionally. I think a few other YouTubers, including myself, talk about this on occasion. But it's not just food. They are buying up everything. Do you know that they have bought up just an insurmountable amount of cotton? Like in fact, to the point that it's caused cotton prices to go up. And we're unsure this year's cotton harvest may not be that good because of weather problems, rain, different things like that. It looks like it's going to be a late harvest, and at least they're predicting. And it may not be as good a harvest as what they had expected. And China is buying up massive amounts. I believe as of a year or so ago, they had over $1 billion in cotton just sitting in reserves, just stockpiled, not even what they're using. And The prediction is that with all the supply chain problems and other things, inflation, stuff like that, this one thing of them just hoarding so much cotton is also contributing to the increased prices of clothing because, so much of our clothing is made with cotton. It's not just food and it's not just cotton. They're stockpiling metals. They're stockpiling massive amounts of metals, copper. They have tons and tons of copper and steel and other precious metals or semi-precious metals that are used for manufacturing. They're also stockpiling gold. They have been buying up gold like it's going out of style. While other countries, mostly the United States, has been getting rid of their gold reserves, China has been purchasing it, and they've been buying lots and lots of gold. Another thing that I was reading that they've purchased a lot of, the big push now is to push for these electric vehicles. And I'm not going to make the necessary connections, but I'll just put it out there, and you can kind of read between the lines and make your own connections. A part of this new reset and this new fourth industrial revolution, all these initiatives, is to switch over to electric vehicles. Either you're not going to own a vehicle and you'll be happy, or you'll own a little small electric vehicle that's only going to be able to go so many miles. That's the big push, this, zero carbon emissions, all that kind of stuff. Well, one of the key ingredients or key, components of manufacturing these electric vehicles and the batteries and the electronics is cobalt. China owns almost 2/3 of the world's supply of cobalt, 2/3 of the world's cobalt mines. They own almost 2/3 of it. And there's every indication that they're continually trying to purchase more. They either own the mines or they finance the mines. They have some type of controlling interest in these mines. They're doing the same thing with other metals that are being used. They have been hoarding microchips. You all know about that. I mean, that's been in the news quite a bit in the last year. If you've tried to purchase a brand new vehicle in the last year or two, you all know that it's been kind of difficult to do that. And one of the big reasons that they're saying is because there's been a chip shortage. You all know about that, chip shortages. We've talked about how other electronic devices are in short supply, at least new ones, because of the chip shortage. It's one, not the only, but one of the reasons why used car prices have gone up. People can't go out and purchase a brand new vehicle anymore, so the used car prices are pretty hot right now because that's about the only thing that's available. So you're all aware of the chip shortage. I feel like I'm going around the barn here to get to the point. Well, it's been exposed, I guess, that one of the reasons why there's a chip shortage is because China has been hoarding them. It's estimated that they have 6 to 10 years supply of microchips on hand. Now, that's quite a bit considering the size of the country and the fact, and I'm going to assume that when they come up with that estimate, they have projected that in the next 6 to 10 years, the usage of microchips is probably going to, increase exponentially. We're using a lot now because so much of everything has microchips in it. But think of what it's going to be in 6 to 10 years. I'm sure everything will have a microchip in it. So if they have enough microchips stored away for at least the next 6 to 10 years, that's telling me they got a lot of microchips. And while, again, it's not necessarily the only reason that there's a shortage, it's certainly one of the big reasons right now that there's a shortage. I could probably go on and on because if you just Google China hoarding, you would be surprised how many items pop up. Gold and money and food and metals and all these different commodities. And if you click on those searches, almost every one of them, there's news articles popping up over the last couple of years or so talking about China hoarding or increasing the reserves of that particular commodity. Now, why? Why are they doing that? Are they just that paranoid? Are they just trying to figure out a way to spend all their money, now that China has embraced, a free markets, not really, but they've embraced capitalism at least on some level, and they've become quite wealthy. The amount of money that they're taking in because of that. They're the second largest economy, and will probably become the first top economy on the planet if they continue doing what they're doing and America continues to do what we're doing. So why are they hoarding all this stuff? I mean, if they're the biggest, if they're becoming one of the most powerful, economies and buying powers on the planet, then why are they hoarding so much of everything? I mean, and that's the way that it looks. I'm not an expert on this, and I don't have all the answers and haven't researched every little thing, but everything that I did look at, they're stockpiling it. And they're stockpiling it in massive, massive amounts. Not just a little bit, but a lot. Now, I'm not going to assume things here, okay? But I am going to propose this as a kind of a question of why, and is this something that we should be concerned with? I mean, there's certainly the possibility of a war with China, an actual physical, bloody combat war with China. We're already engaged in a soft war, in a cold war with China. It's not been talked about, really. I mean, we talk about the Cold War we had with Russia, but I'm telling you, we're in a Cold War with China right now. And the fact is they're winning that Cold War. They are absolutely winning it. Going back to the little bug that's been going around the last couple of years, and other things. So how much damage is that on our economy? How much damage is that on us as a people? And is that something that we should be concerned with? A country that's considered our biggest adversary, and we aren't really doing anything to prepare ourselves. I mean, we're stocking up on face coverings, maybe. We're stocking up on stuff they stick up their nose to, maybe. What else are we stocking up on as a nation? Not as individuals, as a nation. Are we as a nation preparing ourselves as a people for this flailing economy that we're living in? Global flailing economy. They talk about climate and all the damages that's going on with the climate, but are we as a nation preparing for that? Are we stocking up on things? Are we preparing ourselves as a nation? No, it doesn't look like it. I mean, I'm not seeing any evidence. I guess I can't say 100% that we aren't, but I'm not seeing any evidence that we are. And yet we have China over here. China that controls a large market of just about everything, or at least a lot of things. I mean, I think that if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, that somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 75% of our pharmaceuticals come from China. The amount of over-the-counter medicines that come from China. A lot of stuff comes from China in one way or the other, or at least they have a control over it. And here we look at all these very important commodities. Food. I mean, how much of the food on this planet comes from either soybeans, corn, wheat, sorghum, those kind of things? A lot. A lot. And they own over half of the world's supply, the world's reserves. That's saying a lot. When you look at things like the cobalt mines and copper and microchips and other things, that they have mass amounts of it. I think it's certainly something we should be aware of and most likely concerned with. If nothing else, it could be, or at least it should be, a little bit more of a motivation for you to kind of prepare. I mean, if this country over here that has so much power, so much control when it comes to the global economy, when it comes to supply chains, when it comes to medicines, they're increasing the power of their military. It's estimated they will have the largest navy on the planet in just a few years. They're building ships like crazy. They're training soldiers like crazy. They're building up in just about every way. And they're definitely making threats to some of their neighbors. And here they are stockpiling massive amounts. It's almost like they are preparing for something that they think might be around the corner. And if they're doing that, then maybe you should be doing that also. Again, I don't have all the answers to this. I just have the information that I found right in front of me. And it doesn't look good. At least I don't think it looks good, considering that like I said, the size of their nation and the power that they have, the control over markets that they have. And here they are stockpiling in the way that they are with just about everything. I mean, it's some of these articles talk about it as if it's almost a frenzy. That they are stockpiling. They use the word hoarding, and I think it's certainly something for us to be concerned with. So I guess do your own stockpiling, folks. I mean, that's what we try to do around here as much as we can. Not just stockpiling, but really getting ourselves mentally prepared, learning skills, getting our homes prepared, getting our hearts prepared, getting ourselves right with the Creator. Because we are in a world that's rapidly changing, and it's rapidly changing in a very negative way. And instead of sitting around constantly worrying about it or talking about it or just watching videos about it, you need to start taking actions in your life, in your home, to get yourselves prepared for it. Because it doesn't look like all that is going on and all that is happening is going to end anytime soon. I think most people believe that it is going to get worse, and really about the only way. In fact, I think my wife and I were having this conversation the last couple of days, and she was like asking me, well, what would it take to switch this all around? What would it take to stop all this that's happening and to switch, flip America around to being a really a great nation once again, and a free nation and a moral nation and a prosperous nation? And I said, at this point, I think an absolute complete collapse. I think it has to hit rock bottom to rebuild it back again. I don't really foresee any real way of stopping this where we're at right now and just immediately flipping it back around. And I think most people know that, especially people in power, and that's why they are preparing. And if these people that have knowledge about things that you and I don't are preparing in the ways that they are, then you should be preparing also. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.